Oh, technical difficulties from my man. Is the show? Should I do the intro
Oh,
now?
oh.
Gotta
All
shorten the
right, man. You
cord.
made it. Oh
Let's shorten the cord.
man, I was ready, dude. I was coming out the gate swinging,
Gotta shorten the cord.
man. Well, I guess I know what you'll be getting me for Christmas.
We can't wait that long. Birthday, bro.
Birthday coming up, man.
Yes.
What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
What's up?
Sorry, I got a short. I got to double check that, man. I thought I put it in there real good, man, but it just doesn't want to stay. So, uh, man, it's gonna have to go. I love it, but it's gonna have to go, man. It's gonna have to go because at this point, you don't know if it's the cord or if it's the jack.
Jack. Right.
And so how do you? I mean, I'm not buying another adapt because
Well, you
adapt could
get
be as much
somebody
as
to
as much as a mixer, man.
clip the cord in the thing and solder it together. You get somebody like Neil Starkey to do that, by
Man, I'm just gonna get another one. I mean, it's a little. This what is this? This is a
it's a
well,
Behringer.
it's a Behringer. It says, it's like one of those
What's up, Brad?
multi. It says it's 10 channels, but it's really two. And then you got them combo. You got them combo channels, man.
Right. You can't
You
do
know
them
what
at the same time, but you know, hey, you can put in a stereo RCA in this.
My gosh. Anyway, we
Right.
are here for your Tuesday night audio and visual pleasure. Hopefully, you guys have had a great weekend coming off of Labor Day
Yes.
weekend. And so, those of you who hate your jobs, y'all got a short week.
Yes.
You got a short week, man. You only got 4 days. So it's already hump day. It's already Wednesday,
It's
you know?
already Wednesday.
So, can't beat that, man.
Yeah.
So get some things out of the way. If you are on YouTube or go to our YouTube channel, you can subscribe to the channel, share this podcast with your friends, your family, whoever you think might dig what we are saying. We are trying to have some fun, but also spread some knowledge and tell the truth on some stuff too.
Tell the
So,
truth.
tell the truth. Tell it.
Tell it.
So definitely hit the notification bell. Notice that we will, when we go live or when we drop a new video, we just edited down and released the Russell Malone tribute of our experiences and relationship with the late great jazz guitar master Russell Malone, who touched so many people, man, in the community, all around the world, man. He was everywhere. It's amazing how many people that cat had personal relationships with, man.
Right.
Pretty amazing.
Did you talk to Joel about him?
I didn't get a chance to talk to Joel, our
That was
friend Joel
busy.
Powell. Yeah, because he's from the same area,
Right.
but I will, man. Poor Joel, man. He had the 1,000-yard stare last night, man. He had to play the whole session by himself, man. No bass players came
Hey
out.
man, bass players, if y'all don't come out, we don't know you exist. You can't
But
get called for a gig.
they've been so. But to their credit, they have been, man. They've been coming out. I think it's just it was labor. It was a kind of a maybe just a weird
There's a
combination
couple
of.
of bass players I haven't seen, man. I haven't seen over there.
You want to name some names?
I can name some names. Ramon Poozer, we haven't seen you in the place, bro. Stop by.
I ain't seen Ramon in a
Ramon.
minute.
Right. Chris Riggenbach, where you at, man? We haven't seen you.
Riggenbach don't come out. He don't come out of the house, man.
Andy Eula. Come on, man.
Cats only come out if they're playing. I mean, I get it though. I get it. Especially those cats, man. Some of those cats, they live way up the road.
That's true. Andy lives way up there, close to Cartersville or something, I think.
Way up the road. So I'm gonna give them a pass. And
okay, what about
if you live in the city? Huh?
What about some of these students?
Well, I'll let you deal. That's your line of expertise, not mine.
Okay.
I'd have been fired from the this easily, no question, man. I heard another story the other day, man. A friend of mine told me about some stuff going on at a school in Michigan, man.
Oh wow. Wow.
Just just crazy, man, crazy.
Man,
And
I had a student one time.
and I heard about something else at a school up in Boston.
Really?
That school,
A
that
really good school
that's
in Boston?
that school, 70 grand a year school. You know
Oh
which one I'm
heck.
talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
I heard some craziness, man.
Little
Crazy,
Ferkley action, huh? Little Ferkley school of
man. I was like, wow, man. So anyway, but we're not gonna go down that road
just yet.
just yet
Yes.
because you know,
What's up,
we don't
Pine
want to
Buddy?
we don't want to drag the whole vibe of the show down, and then
Yes.
me and you actually just quit everything. So we'll keep it
On my team.
keep it positive. So
Yeah.
we can. Mark Podhorzer in the house. I got a Podhorzer story.
Hey, bro. By
Oh,
the
I
way,
shouldn't
John
say.
is in the house too. John, we
What's
got to
up,
play
Jay?
next week, bro.
JL.
We never get a chance to play at the jam session, so me and you, baby. I think we played one time up there.
He's been there every week, man.
He has. I just don't get a chance to play with him.
Been there every week, man. Been there every week.
What's your pod story, man?
Oh man, I wasn't going. I was gonna. I'll tell it later on. It's a
The
good one.
Knicks.
This is nah. It's just, man. We're gonna call it when we'll call the segment when fans get too familiar. You remember when Charlie Murphy
Yes.
when Charlie Murphy was talking about my
What is
man
nothing?
got too familiar,
Right,
and
right.
I can't remember exactly which story he
Bet
was.
he ain't go through that again.
But cats get real familiar, man. They start giving suggestions, man. They start giving suggestions on stuff, man. Oh,
Yeah.
you know. So
That's
we'll
pop.
bust him out. We'll bust him out later. We'll bust him out later. Now, something that funny that did happen was I walked by Mark at the end of the night, and of course I only played the first 3 songs. So
Oh,
instead of, so of course he yells out, I see you've been working hard, something to that effect, right?
that's him. That's pop.
So I kept one. Then I turned around. I said, no, I got to get him.
You got to get him.
And I said, man, well, you're my best role model for that. So, which is nada.
Look who else is in the chat there, bro.
Nada.
Look who else there. This cat is notorious.
Asa Allah, what's up, man?
Bruh.
Asa, percussionist.
This dude will literally bring the kitchen sink.
Kitchen sink. He bring the whole. He bring the whole world.
But first time I met him, we played on a gig. He had a brake drum in there. I was like, man, I think that fits my car, bro. I might need that joint, bro.
He had some brakes.
He had a brake drum, bro. He was hitting against bling, 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 bling.
Carburetor. He had a carburetor, man.
Fan shrouds. Oh man.
Hey man, cat comes prepared. What can you say?
Hey, man, where's Mama Niji, bro? We haven't seen Mama Niji.
Wow, that's a really great question. Last time I saw Mama Niji was out at the jazz festival. Not this past year because I didn't go, but a year before.
Okay.
He and his wife and his brother.
Oh, cool.
Hanging out there. That's
Jerome,
where
the drummer, that brother.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. What's up, Jeanette?
That's where I seen. That's the last time. Well, man, where can a cat like that? He needs. I mean, other than Kevy's place,
creative free range.
I heard.
Oh, Asha said he'd been hanging with.
Oh, okay. Well, tell him we said what's up, man.
Tell him, bro.
Yeah.
Come on through, bro.
Need some more creative. I mean, I heard iDrum is doing. I know they're doing some stuff over at iDrum. That's more creative, just explorative, whatever. So, but cat like that, man, his music, his music is hardcore, dude.
Hard junk, bro.
We had that great man. We had that great gig. Remember that one gig we did at Churchill?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um, that was so much fun, man. His music
yeah.
is great, incredible, man, incredible.
He was doing 11 before cats found out about.
Man, we worked out a lot of that stuff, man. It was
I know
fun.
it was a fun gig.
But that's where we had that's when we had Elliott Street too,
Yeah,
Elliott Street is sorely missed.
sorely missed. But Mike and Peter, bro, they
They in Nairobi, bro.
Nairobi with the Porsche, bro.
I'm like, good Lord.
Right.
But they brought Kebby over.
Yeah.
And I think Darren might be Darren English. I think Darren might be headed there at some point. So
wow,
nice.
Nice.
I know he wants to have, to bring some of us over there to do certain things. So I think
I got a passport.
He's just, he's sort of plotting his how to his plan. So we'll see how that transpires. But shout out to the Jacobs, man. Yeah, absolutely. So what's going on, man, with school? How is getting acclimated to back to academia?
Man, this is the third week, so I'm seeing the students starting to lock in. So here's a crazy thing. The ones, hey Jeanette, the ones who were hitting the jam sessions this summer.
Yeah.
I can hear the difference in their plan and their hunger. So they're starting a community and stuff. They've always had a piano community, but now they're extending it to other instruments. So it's really cool to see that community happening at KSU. It's almost like as soon as they get on board, though, it's time for them to graduate. And I'm like, oh, dude, if we'd have started this off like this from the very beginning, it's kind of hard to tell a kid, hey, in 4 years, you're going to learn what you need to do for the rest of your life. That's across the board with anything. And with if you're going to be a doctor, you have to do some type of residency, right? We don't have that for music. And a residency is like you're not getting paid. Your experiences, whatever. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get paid anything, but
why not?
Yeah. But if you really think about it, a residency is you're learning more than what the other doctors are doing. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing anything. You're not helping them, but slowing them down. So there needs to be like a residency for these musicians to go in, join some of these big bands, join some of the quintets around town and stuff, just learn some stuff,
Well, the internship used to be you could call, you would have a veteran guys, and usually there was one young cat on the gig.
Right.
I've been that young guy, you've been that young guy.
Yeah.
And you just learn on the job, but in order to get that call, the older guys have to hear
something.
They have to, I don't want to say, potential is the obvious word, but it's more like, what is this cat willing to do to do this? Right. I can remember, man, driving up to, I'm living in Noonan, and I met someone who was pivotal in my career in terms of just learning, which was Miguel Romero, great Cuban piano player who moved here from New York City. And I just wanted to be around. I wasn't, I was nowhere ready to be on that gig, but I was just around. I was going to the show where he was playing. I was hanging out. I was going to the rehearsals of the bands.
Yeah.
And just hanging out. And the next thing you know, I can't remember who was playing drums at that time. Might have been Tad Gully. Tad. But Tad couldn't make something. He called and he said, "Hey man, we're gonna use, come on, we're gonna use." And it was like, what? I mean, I wasn't anywhere near ready for that, but he kind of gave me a simple role. He's like, man, just play these two rhythms, which was the clave and the cascada. Just keep that going,
Yeah.
and then drop in some funk stuff when it happens. Don't try to do too much, man. And that was the beginning of that journey, and learning how to play with those cats and try to play those rhythms that I had. But you know how many hours I was spending on that stuff too. There was a real commitment. So that's
Right.
what they heard. They heard the commitment of
Right.
what I was doing. Of course, I'm nowhere ready to, but it's like, hey man, let's go. You got the potential. And then I started getting the calls just from that. That's
Is
one
that
thing we don't really see, man.
that's what I was about to say.
Don't see that at all. Don't see it at all.
Is that because the answer is on a computer a lot of times, or just cats are not used to being that social, or what do you think
I
that is?
think the goals are different now. The goals are more social media driven, and depending on where they believe they are, if they're believing everybody with the likes and the comments and the fire emojis and all this stuff, then what do they need an older cat to show them? They already, and they can pal up with themselves, which is what they do anyway. So,
I
and
mean,
then
we
they can
we
just all pat
carried
each other on
around
the back.
with each other too. We did that. We got together and try to think we was playing something that was there too, but I don't know what the disconnect is. Like, what is
I don't know. I
yeah.
just remember, I can remember 2 or 3 instances of people leaving, going away for 2, 3 years, coming back and seeing us play, and they're like, "Man,
Yes. Yes.
what y'all been doing, man? This."
Yeah.
So, and that happened to us a lot. Actually, we were on a several of the same gigs when that happened to us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So but I just think the goals are different, and you know the I don't know, the hunger. I think you used that word earlier.
Yeah.
The hunger for wanting to play with other people. Number one is really not that important to them. You
Right.
know, if you can gain thousands of followers on your own and have a YouTube channel, which everybody has a YouTube channel. That's cool, but that's cool for them. I mean, or when people leave comments like thank y'all this for showing me all this love this summer and showing me how great I am. I mean, golly, bro. But that's where we're at, man.
Yeah.
That's where I sent you that. I mean, are you serious?
Right.
Like
Right.
like
There's three
so
words. There's three words that I've encompassed that some of these students don't have, and this three word phrase is called "I don't know," and I don't think they like to admit that they don't know something, and
no, they
that's
don't.
the beginning of getting knowledge. Is like I don't know it. If I'm a teacher, how can I gauge what you need to know if you say I don't know? Do you know this? Have you heard of this? So I'm constantly trying to, as a good teacher would, if you ask a question, then you have to prove it. So it's like, hey, do you know how to do the block chords that Red Garland did on You're My Everything, right? That iconic album where they left the part in there where Miles whistles and says, "Hey Red, play me some block chords," right? And so the actual intro he was going to play was kind of cool too. So I'm teaching my student that. I was like, "Hey, have you checked it out?" Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was about to move on to the next concept, and I said, "Okay, play it." And like, let me see. Well, can I hear it again? That's okay. Well, you don't know it, so he learned it. I was like, "Okay, let's apply it. Can you apply it in another song?" Oh yeah, let's see. Say I don't know, and we can go from there. But it turned out to be a great lesson. It totally detoured from what we were going to do today, just to get that little nugget in there, you know. But you have to be, man, I don't know about that. I don't know this. And then how many times have a person written down some tunes or stuff that you should check out, or give you a tape? Hey, man, I know you've been wanting to do this. Check this out.
Mhm.
I heard a piano player, Dwight Fitch, when we were both coming up, and he seemed like he had a handle on a lot of stuff. He was I think we were in the same year, class, whatever, but he just had a handle. And I was like, man, how you doing this bebop stuff, bro? He said, you ever heard of Bud Powell? I said, no. He said, man, get this record by Bud Powell, this record, blah, blah, blah. And he's like,
Okay, so now you're getting to the heart of it.
right, right,
Is when you just, I mean, just even listening to pop music radio,
right,
you're learning songs. Even if you're learning things in your head, you're hearing these same things over and over. You're learning form, you're learning arrangements, you're learning you know uh just music 101, right?
right,
Which
right,
is, it still comes down to playing songs, whether, I don't care what genre it is, if it's
right.
rock or if it's jazz or if it's funk, country, it doesn't matter, but it's still about that. So that's the big chunk that, and to their defense, they don't have they don't, they're not being raised like that.
Right,
They have other outlets for entertainment. For us, we didn't. The radio was on constantly, man. Think about, it was a luxury to have a cassette player in your car.
yeah,
Man, the cat that had the cassette player in this, man, it was like, whoa. But it was like radio, radio, radio. So you're learning language, you're learning melody, right? You're learning grooves, you're learning, and you're just checking stuff out, man. It's not like and then you know, I was playing to, that's the first thing I did is they put the record on and play to it. I can't
right,
Beatles or something, but it's that carries you through, so that when you get to a certain point in your development, or you go to, like, cats that were going to school for music 20, 30 years ago, they were already like way ahead. It was like maybe they didn't have the technical stuff, right? But in terms of understanding the basics of how to do whatever they're going to school, they kind of already had that because they were already playing in a band when they were 14. They were
right.
already listening to records, all of that stuff. So that makes a huge difference. So you guys, and that are in higher academia, you're trying to um teach the basics as well as, like, okay, so then by the time by the time they get a handle on that, it's time for them to go, and you
Yeah.
never even got to give them anything about what it's like to really learn how to apply stuff. So I think that's
Yeah.
kind of what you're getting at.
And to bring balance to that, the previous generation before us, they didn't have the luxuries that we had. So, you look, and this may be another generation before that, but I mean, Quincy Jones, a young trumpet player, hitting the sessions at 17, or Tony Williams
Mm-hmm.
at 19 or 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just going out there, they didn't have like the amazing slow downer where they go and take an MP3 and
Yeah.
slow it down. So, Ellis told me that there was this chord on Peter Gunn or I Spy, one of the two, that came on the
Yeah.
radio.
Yeah. You
Yeah, so
told
we
me.
talked
Yeah.
about that, right? But can you
Yeah.
imagine tuning in an episode once a week to get one chord?
Right.
So how is my ear going to be better than his? Or how is my hunger going to be better than his? Or he told
Right.
me stories like this. You get on a session, don't tell a cat that you don't know a song. You better figure it out. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. He said,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because if another piano player come through, it's like, yeah, man, I know the song. You never get back on again. So you
Mm-hmm.
better figure it out, So
Great
How?
story similar to that is the legendary drummer James Gadson always
Mhm.
tells the story about he didn't know anything about reading music, you know,
Right.
and but he wanted to get into playing sessions, and this cat asked him, "Hey man, can you read?" He was like, "Yeah, just totally,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
of course." He's like, "All right, session is next week, such and such a date." This cat is like, man, he said he went to the music store, got him a notation book, and taught himself in a week. I mean, these are the stories that you hear that these guys tell. Like, it's like I had to go and figure it out. I had to go and
Right.
figure it out.
Right.
And but like you said, it's like those opportunities pass you by. Just
Right.
like we talked about last opportunity gone, man. You
Opportunity gone.
opportunity gone.
Hmm.
And no excuse, really, for that.
Yeah, you
Opportunity
had
gone.
it. You had one chance, one shot, one.
So, but that's this is, I mean, Brad is chiming in here. He says, this generation of YouTube and internet learners is prevalent in now. I'm seeing more self taught musicians of all trades now making their way to the forefront from learning their chops on YouTube and other musicians and even making their own albums. So a lot in there, but I think well, we never said YouTube is a bad thing. We use YouTube all the time,
Right.
you know.
But who is there to decipher the information that you're getting?
Well, you don't need, but that's the thing is everything is deciphered for you in most forms. It's
Correctly or incorrectly?
well, I guess that depends on what it is. If you're
Right.
if you're yeah, you can't language is you can't.
Right.
People you see this all the time. The Glasper chord, the Elvin lick,
Right.
the so and so people, man, it's like, yeah, but
Yeah.
if you don't know, you don't know. So
Right.
someone who doesn't have the depth of understanding is going to see that, they're going to jump on it, and they're going to think that that is verbatim what it is. I've heard
Right.
that. Oh man, the Elvin lick.
Right.
What is that? I don't even
Right.
what? But all that stuff is just these bogus content guys, man, just trying to
I
get
mean,
the
there's some great ones, but you have
there are
to find the
there's
right
some
one.
real great ones,
Right.
really good ones.
But I think about a mechanic, right? That you go on YouTube. I saw this one thing where this guy was talking about wiring up something, right? And this other mechanic came on and said, if you do this to your car, this will happen. And he shows a car burning up, catching on fire, because a guy on YouTube shows somebody how to hook up some LED lights straight to the battery. And the
Okay.
impedance of the wire is not, the gauge of the wire is not strong enough to handle the current that's coming in. So, but most of these people who want to connect these LEDs, they think they'll look on and look at that video, but who's there to decipher and say, hey man, if you do that, you're gonna burn up your car. So we have a lot of musicians that say, hey man, play these riffs and stuff like that. And you're like, dude, you're gonna get fired off the gig. Groove first, chords first.
Yeah.
So, it's good. I encourage my students to use it. You got the slow down mechanism, which is awesome. You can go 3/4 speed and play it slowly and it doesn't change the pitch. So it's awesome tool to use. But I'm like a coach or a guide. You're like, hey, have you thought about doing this instead or trying this? Or hey, check this person out.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about something today is when are we going to get back to using our own minds, right? You use your own mind, you use your own interpretation. You use, because the verbatim, this is what, because we're in kind of verbatim culture, right? That's why everything looks the same.
I say
Everything.
we're in fast track culture. So you
Well,
have to do verbatim because if you got to get from point A to point B quickly, you have to acquire whatever the skills are and move on.
I mean,
It's
it's
no
like
time for
it's like
development.
if you drop yourself in the woods.
Survival. I've been watching these survival
I
shows.
wasn't even. I know I wasn't even going, but I was just thinking, just in terms of
Right.
just using a
An
you
analogy.
know, just an analogy for if you get dropped in the woods.
Right.
I'm not talking about the woods of Cambodia or the jungle in Cambodia. I'm just talking about the woods behind your house that you
Right.
don't even
Right.
know exist, right?
Okay.
Because you
Right.
don't go outside,
Right.
right? So, and you have no way of knowing exactly how do you find where you need to go,
Yeah. Yeah.
because see, we were taught what we were taught certain things that give us directions:
Right. Right.
north, south, east, west,
Right.
you know, and you have to know those little things in order to, so if you do, because you get out in the woods, what happens? Everything looks the same.
Yeah.
Everything. I remember Sylvester Sylvester Stallone talking about when he made First Blood.
Right.
That's a classic, man. That
Right.
we watch that every time it comes. I don't care where it is. You're gonna watch it, right?
I
The
used to know the
first one, not
monologue,
second
bro.
one, first one, huh?
I used to know the monologue, bro.
Man, but
Like the
I tell
dude
you,
that-
and matter of fact, Dashiell Smith, where you at? Because you got my DVD with the freaking director's cut with all the commentary on it. That junk, he had that junk for about 10 years.
Oh
Anyway,
man.
but yeah, so there's the, how the DVDs used to have they would have the commentary. So the director or an actor would be taught, man,
Right.
miss that
Right.
was incredible.
It
So
was.
he's talking through this whole thing and telling, so they get to this one of the first shots in the woods, and he's like, if you notice, all of the law enforcement have on white hats, white cowboy hats. It's something you wouldn't even really think about.
Right.
It's something they would never even have on, like if they were really searching for
Right.
a criminal or something like that. But
Right.
the reason he did that was so you could see where people are, because you get out there, everything looks the same. You can
Right.
make one wrong turn. You think you're going one way,
Right.
and you get lost, and it's like game over out. They were like out somewhere in the Pacific, somewhere
Right.
Pacific Northwest. So, but that's what, to me, it's like everything looks the same. Like,
Right.
there's always fads, there's always whatever, but
Mhm.
it's like, man, uh and everything sounds the same. Everything sounds the same.
Right.
So but getting back to, so when do we get back to just using our own minds, man? When does that happen?
Well, look at this comment right here from Bill Hatcher.
Okay.
He said, "We learned on the gig. The
Right.
gig teaches you all the parameters, all the sounds, feels, smells, everything.
Right.
YouTube is one dimension, but it is fabulous to use." So
Right.
yeah, I agree with that.
Right.
But there's something to be said, man. Like he said,
Great point.
what about just being in the band and learning how to read the crowd? Like you have a
Yeah.
set list and you know the next while you're playing the song, you're like, you know what, we need to skip to this song. Or it's time to hit him with a ballad, or it's time to do this. So,
When do you audible? Right.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Always a time to audible, man. Right.
right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can't learn that on your own. I mean, you could possibly,
Nah,
but
you
why
can't.
would you? Why
You
would you
can't.
unless you've seen it in action?
It's like being in a game, dude. These
Right,
offensive court, this is the problem, right? Some of the problems with these guys, why they get fired, they
right,
go in with, their game plan. Well, you have to be willing to get off of that. They've thrown you some different looks that you weren't expecting.
right.
What counter do you have to this? You know,
Counter. Right.
this is and that's what, as Bill said, put that back up, man, because that's
Yeah.
really,
Gotcha.
we learned on the gig, which means what? You learn by making mistakes. You don't learn by sounding great. You learn by making mistakes. Is how you learn. That's how anybody learns. It's, you don't learn by You know, I mean, it's football season, so
it's
you know the analogies are coming. Your boy
yeah, but
Brian Kelly,
it's
your boy
I'm telling
Brian Kelly the other night. I'm sorry, go
you, no,
ahead.
please, bro, please. You were doing so
That's
well.
your boy now. That's your boy. But man, the player scores a touchdown. He's amped. Okay, we get it. He
Are we doing
gestures
this?
that he's shooting a gun at the other player. To me, and he's got 1,000 excuses for that's just absolute buffoonery, man. I don't. There's just no other way to spin that. But to see him talking to this cat, on the sideline, and they're like talking it out, and then he gives the guy a hug. I'm like, man, what world are we? What is Brian? This is Brian. What are y'all? But what does that tell you about where the culture is, man? Is that hard coaching? That hard?
That's done. That's done. Bobby Knight, never. You'll never see Bobby Knight again.
But I'm even taking that into schools, into
Oh,
what you
people
do.
losing their jobs over that. People are losing their jobs over that.
I mean, there's more than one way to
Look, I tell my students, I said, listen,
kill a snake, but
I'm gonna tell you right now, I can't do the lovey-dovey stuff. I said, but I am gonna yell at you. But I'm yelling at you in love. I'm just trying to spark this thing. But afterwards, it's all good. If I'm not yelling at you for something, I'm trying to prone you to action. But if I'm not yelling at you, maybe I don't care. But I'm like, listen, don't take it. We can talk it out. If you get offended by what I say, let's talk about it. But
okay, that's it.
I'm trying to spurn you to action.
This is super interesting because one of our favorite shows, Nightcap, with Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson.
Right.
Man, it's so great what those guys are doing, and there's so much realism. They're giving it to you. I mean, they're just giving everything to you, on a silver platter in terms of how things were done or how things are done, given their opinions. But they were talking about that. They were talking about the difference between hard coaching and the having a softer approach, if you will. Right. So we have two. I mean, Chad's not necessarily a Hall of Fame player, but he's he was a great player in his time. Shannon, bona fide, one of the greatest ever tight ends. Right. Shannon said he did not like to be cursed at. He did not. He had a real problem just based on. He didn't necessarily say how he was raised, but what makes him tick. He said for him, he said, just tell me I did a good job. He said anything. He said, if I'm doing it, if you're telling me that I'm doing a good job, I'm gonna work that much harder for you. Okay.
Right.
Chad Johnson, on the other hand, he said, man, give me every curse word, every he said that's the only way you could get to me was hard coaching. He said it would just light me up. It would light a fire. I'm the kind of player that needed a fire lit up under him from the coach. So the harder, the more you am at what are you, he was talking about instances with Hugh Jackson and how Hugh Jackson would light into, and that would just get him going. So obviously you read the student, right? You try to figure out, okay, what makes this guy tick? What doesn't make this guy tick? But at the same time,
this is my style and philosophy, though.
I was going to say, how do you, is that not being true to yourself? If you know that you have to go down a different road with this kid rather than this kid, talk about that. Cause that's a really, it's a really interesting thing.
So it's a balance, to get to that. I want to prove a point that the gig where you mess up on and learning is also the same gig where people are helping you not to make a mistake. Like you're playing a gig and you decide to break it down. And you're like, no, don't break it down here. The fire, the energy is cresting, and You need somebody, and in the heat of it, they might yell at you. No, and you're like, then afterwards they come up to you. Look, couldn't yell. I didn't want to yell at you right there, but you just ruined the trajectory of where we were
Yeah,
going. And
right.
so in the future, don't break it down. How do you? I mean, it's you can't write a book about when to use a two field and when not to use a two field. You have to be kind of directed in there and make the mistake, but at the same time, somebody give you the correction because sometimes your ears are not evolved enough to hear what you need to do. So, to your point about teaching, you have to have the balance of yes, you're trying to get the eureka moment from all your students. You're like you want the light bulb to go off, right? So on the onset, you ask questions. Hey, play something for me. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be a jazz song. Play me your favorite song. Let me see where you are. Then sometimes I'll have a student that will play the song and it won't be right. And then I said, hey, did you really learn the song? Blah, 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 right? Here's how it really goes. And they were like, okay. So then when it comes back next week and I'm patient again, hey, did you go over this, right? And like, yeah, I did. I said, well, play it. And they don't execute it. And I'm like, come on. This is the real world. You won't have these second and third chances, you know. So then I get to the point where I have to read. Now, if a person's real sensitive, I can't be there. I gotta build them up somehow. But I can't gotta be true to myself. So I'm gonna say, listen, I know that you don't like being yelled at and this kind of stuff, but I am I just want to let you to understand who I am. I was like, I am very passionate about teaching. And I don't do babysitting. If you want to find another teacher, that's fine. But what I am is passionate about your development. So I'll have that conversation. Some people can't handle that, right? Um, and I look back on some of my teaching where I'm learning how to teach that I could have done that differently, right? I could have evolved with, and evolving is meaning that you have started somewhere and you're ending up somewhere else, right? Like, so I'm learning how to teach these kids as well. So in the past, I hope I didn't ruin anybody by whatever. And then I learned sometimes too that you can't coddle them so much because they they will never break away from you. I really want to get them to not need me as much, you know? And so some students I've had, I just kind of like lobbed the ball up from them when they got into real life, they just kind of quit. And I'm like, I can't do that anymore. I gotta give them some tough stuff too. So man, teaching is a hard and critical profession, man. And my mom was a great teacher. I call up and ask her stuff all the time. And just those little nuggets. Like one thing she told me, hey, you ever thought about before the first day of your class to get a survey to see how what everybody knows and then start with some remediation, get them to where they need to go. But give them a survey. I was like, man, I never thought about that. Then I did. So she said, start with the question, why do you want to learn jazz? And it's amazing seeing the answers from that, you know, anywhere from it's required to I think it's going to help me with my other music. So then I realized now
Like
maybe you're
that.
not here for jazz. Maybe you're here for your other music and thinking that's going to help you better than classical. Well, I can respect that. Now I know how to
Totally
approach
respect that.
right,
Absolutely.
know how to approach you. And my hopes
Mhm.
is in teaching you a little bit about this jazz thing that's going to help you learn the other things, maybe you might not be a jazz player, but you might be in the audience at my next gig or at other people's gigs because you are a learned
Yeah,
listener.
you're gaining a respect for the art.
Right, exactly, for
Mhm,
the art
mhm,
form. So,
mhm.
you can't predict what the future is going to be for everybody who comes through your studio, but you can think at least a nugget or something of you're going to impress upon them something about the music,
Mhm.
something about life, something about dedication, something
And
about
that's yeah, that
yeah,
right. That's what I was going to say is hopefully it's because everybody's not going to be a pro.
no,
Everybody's not going to do this for a living, whatever, but maybe it will help them. You'll give them some tools that they can take into whatever else they're doing, you know.
right, Right.
It's amazing. Some of still the messages that I'll get from people that I have forgotten that I taught their kid, or and they'll find you on Facebook or something, or Instagram, send you, and I've gotten a lot of like, man, thank you, so you have no idea what you did for my son, and I'm just trying to like
Right.
think like, but whatever it was, I guess I made an impact on his life, which
Right. Right. Right.
to me, that's the most. I mean, I think that's what at the end of the day, it's just what these football coaches, these high school and college coaches talk about. It's like, man, y'all ain't going to the pro. Ain't but one or two of y'all going to the pros.
Right. Right.
But it's what you're going to do with the rest of your life.
Right.
Is this is going to give you some tools to get you through, because you think it's tough in here. Wait till you deal with so and so in the office next door that's trying to get that promotion, and they know they trying to get some dirt on you to try to slow you down. I mean, all those kinds of things, man.
Well,
So,
man, you're right on the money, because the skills that you're going to learn to do this deep dive in jazz is applicable everywhere. So,
mm-hmm,
case in point, there's a friend of ours who's a musician. When COVID hit, the work dried up for everybody. So,
mm-hmm,
so I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to have the teaching thing that I could be on Zoom and teach the college level courses. But
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I'd have to be creative, whatever. I was also fortunate to have some recording equipment at the crib where I could do tracks. But for a lot of people who didn't have that, it was plan B, right? So this piano player that we know, he went and worked at Publix. And after 2 weeks, he got promoted to store manager. So when I talked to him about that, he said, well, I was just doing like I would do on a gig. I got there early, showed up, wrote down things, whatever. I learned about the product. I learned about this stuff, just like you would do with a transcription. You'd go in there and learn it. And he's like, next thing I know, I'm the store manager. And he's like, and the reason why they found this cat, because he didn't show up for work at 5 o'clock in the morning like he normally does. And they said something was wrong. And they went to his crib and visited him. That's how they knew something was wrong with the cat, because his work ethic and what he was doing went before him, and they said this what it is. And I like to think that if you study this music, man, you got to have an ear to the speaker. You got to be like, what is this? You're diving in deeper than a normal person would,
mm-hmm,
right? So if you took that work ethic to something else, I don't care if it was, you know, whatever, that is going to help you.
mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I mean, it's life. You know, you ask people, do you play chess? A lot of people, no way, man, I can't have the patience. It's like, no, I don't have the patience. Like, well, how do you navigate your life? Because
looking ahead,
you doing the same thing.
strategizing with chess. Oh my
Tactics.
goodness, tactics.
I mean, you're doing the exact same thing. So,
Right,
you know, sometimes things that slow you down are good, right? That
right,
make you, which is, when it comes to listening, that's what's so hard about, I think, when people talk about why they don't like jazz, right? I
right,
don't understand. It just sounds everything sounds the same. Well, every music sounds the same, really, when you think about it. I mean,
yeah,
country, rock, it's like it all to someone that is uneducated about that particular style. It is going to sound the same, but um, when you sort of just try, you just give things a chance, because sometimes it's like man, I don't know if you used to do this, but I used to, when I would get a record, normally the album, it was strategically, the songs were very strategic in terms of where they're placed
right,
on the vinyl. You have side one, you have side two, right?
right, right,
They're gonna put all the hits on side, anything that
right,
has a hit on side one. right? So
Right.
so as a listener, of course, you've heard a song on the radio. You bought the record for that song, so that's
Right.
going to be on replay. That's generally going to be on
Side A.
side one, right?
Yeah.
Side A, right? So you're gonna listen to side. You're gonna listen to that side, and there's usually some songs that they cushion the big hit with or whatever. You're gonna
Right.
so you can skip to this, but a lot of times you just listen to that side. But how long would it be before you even listen to the other side, man? It
Right.
would be months before
Right.
you even, and then you're like, man, let me check out this. Let me
Right.
check out
That's
side
exactly
B.
right. Right. Right.
Man, I have so many memories of that, right? Like just, man, let me check out side B and see. Side B would be where all the exciting stuff, like all the, I didn't
Yeah.
know, you don't know what was coming, man.
No.
They
No.
have they have the long songs,
Right.
and I just became like a B, and that's where the term B side, it's like a B
Right.
side. That's
Right.
where that sort of kind of, it's like, man, I usually, I would go to side because that was
You
where
jump straight to side B at the
well,
beginning.
not straight to side B,
Okay.
but I became like, man, I like the second side better than the first side kind of
Right.
thing.
Right. Right.
Because the second side is where all the experimental stuff was.
Right. The exploration. Yeah.
It's because that's where the record company they don't care what's on side. All they care
Right.
about is having that one hit.
Right.
They're gonna keep you out. That's their main focus. Side B, you can do whatever you want to do with. We don't care.
Right.
So cats would be experimenting on
Right.
side B. So,
Right.
um, but it would take so long for you to even check that out, man. You know,
Right. Right.
um, so it's kind of like, uh, you might want to, check out side B a little bit more
Right. Right. Right.
than side A or whatever. But
Anthony Mancini was in the chat, and I don't know if he even remembers this, but Anthony Mancini went to Kennesaw, and uh, it was clear that he was, great student and stuff. We didn't know what Mancini was going to do because he had irons and a lot of fire, rock player, all this kind of stuff. But I wasn't going to change him for who he was, right? So I remember the basketball games, whatever. Somebody came from basketball game was like, dude, have you heard the basketball pep band? I was like, no. He's like, dude, you need to check it out. There's this guitar player is shredding all over the place and he's doing this stuff, right? And I'm like, who's that? So I sneaked. I don't know if Mancini even knows this. So I went to one of the games, man. Dude, Mancini was killing it. And the kids were going crazy, bruh. And I was like, that just made me so happy, bruh. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be playing the Wes Montgomery solo. He was in his bag and in his element. And it was great to see,
yeah,
But he
right.
was using that jazz, and I mean, he still plays jazz, but he was using that as a vehicle for his musicianship and what he did, So I really, we're not trying to make clones, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's what's expected, but we say we want originality, but we teach everybody the same thing. Maybe we should just cater more to see what they want to develop and how they're going to develop. And we be a
Well,
coach and a guide.
but also, man, it's like I mean, I like teaching from the perspective of learning, learning these principles in the jazz art form are going to make you a lot better, regardless of what genre you choose. Um, because that's what worked for me as a player was, I didn't get into I got into it too. I wasn't born into it like a lot of you other cats are born into it. So for me, I got it late, and I just was like, you know what, man, I'm just gonna take this challenge because I know it's gonna make me better at everything else that I'm gonna do.
Right.
So I think it's that also is a good sort of incentive for some because they're like, man, why I got to learn such and such. It's like,
Yeah.
well, in a couple of years, you'll see why you got to learn such and such. You know,
Right. Right. Yeah.
because it's
You
going to
see.
help you. It's going to help you with a lot of other stuff. So, um,
Right.
so Mancini, he said, what did he say?
You said thought. Thought you were gonna talk about when I set the alarm off. Yeah.
So what was
It
he
took a
said,
while for the security person to get there, and it was the most aggravating alarm, bruh.
what
It was.
happened? What
I
happened?
think I asked him to go get something, and he went out the fire exit of the door or something, or he leaned against it. I can't remember which one, but yeah,
Oh,
but
that's
yeah, it was funny, man. And it took a while to because they only had a key for the little door handle thing. It was going
mhm.
off the chain, bro. I was like, oh man,
Man,
but
that's funny.
yeah. Uh, so I thought about something culturally. Jazz musicians have to do this deep dive. But remember we had the drummer, what's his name from Shaka Khan? I'm drawing a blank from your boy.
Jay Williams.
Yeah. He could tell us every person on the album that he was influenced by. He could tell us when he was learning this, he went to this, or when he was working with Shaka Khan, he checked out the drummer, checked out what she liked, all these different things. He did his due diligence, he did his research, and frankly, I wonder if because his dad played that he picked that up because at a young age to do that is crazy. So, do you think that was the culture at his house that he learned? And you look at the Boone brothers, would they be who they were without their dad bringing them
Mm-mm.
wherever they needed to go play piano? Like that was a different way from how I learned. Nobody else in my family besides my brothers played
Right.
music to that effect where I could absorb that culture,
Right. Right.
But my
Yeah.
mom
I
was an
mean, you.
educator, so she
Yeah.
knew what it took for practice and stuff. She just didn't know anything about
Right.
music.
Right. Yeah. I think that's one of my greatest um things that I look back on for me is being in a house where there was always music playing and
Mhm.
a lot of different styles of music and having to listen to it could be anything, man. I mean, in my house, it could be anything, but having to learn all of those things, learn, you know, and then learn who played on the records, who all of that is stuff that you, especially man, as a kid,
Yeah.
that was social media,
Right.
So I definitely think that makes a difference. And that nobody in my house was a musician except for myself. Really, everybody took lessons at one point or another:
Mhm.
piano, violin, etc., guitar. Um, but that was just my father's. Like he was big on the arts, everything, dance. Uh, we were all in some sort of like artistic thing. Everybody.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I would say that you know, makes a big difference, man.
You got a response from Robert Boone Jr.
What's up, Boone?
Oh no, you didn't go there, did you?
Hey,
Oh, bro, I'm not quite in the same boat, but
pull up, Boone, pull up. I'm
he
sorry.
said
Go ahead.
he did the Aaron Rodgers relax RELAX. But yeah, look, he said absolutely. Dad had us working on stuff early on, uh, way before we could understand why.
Yeah,
So he set that culture up for those cats, man. And I remember, like, my dad was an extremely good checker player, man. We played checkers with him on Sundays, whatever. While he's,
I bet your
chilling.
dad. I bet your dad was setting cats up, bro, in
Oh, bro.
checkers.
We would go to picnics. They would have like, and the African cats play checkers. They're really good at checkers, right? They call it draft. But anyway, so I remember we learned how to play checkers from my dad, and we never win, right? And my dad said, "Hey, I give you anybody who beats me, I'll give him $1." So man, that was incentive. So my mom said one day, "Duck, why don't you just let him win?" He's like, "They'll never learn." So
That's
man,
right.
we played my brothers, whatever. My whole goal was trying to beat my dad. So I remember going to school, and we had one of those off times where they had checkers, whatever. I thought I was sad. Man, I was killing the whole class got against me one time to try to beat me, bro. I was
Right.
killing everybody. I was like, I didn't know I was this good, right? But then we
Right.
would go to picnics and my dad would just make quick work of me. He had the big checkerboard, like the 25 thing, right? So man, we watching, and I remember my dad told the story. He was like, "Man, when y'all were a little kid, y'all were watching, and it's I'm not gonna mention the guy's name. He's like, my dad beat him. He was supposed to be the best, and I said, Dad, can I play him? And he said, Sure, you can play. And I beat the guy. Everybody was like, What's going on, right? So I was the first one in the family to beat my dad in checkers, and he said, "You want that dollar?" I was 25 when I finally beat him.
What?
25. Right? We played all the time. It wasn't until I was 25 when I beat him. And I beat him. My grandmother, his mother, was in the kitchen. And she's like, "Did that boy just beat you, Doug?" He said, "Yeah, set him up again," like that. He gave me my dollar and I beat him again. I was like, "What just happened here?" Like that. My dad just shook his head. But then he beat me 5 games straight after that. He changed up the
Change
style.
over and change up the
Right,
pattern, right?
right. And then eventually I think maybe a year later, Don finally beat him for the first time. And my dad pulls out the dollar to give Don. I was like, "Man, I don't want that." I was like, "Man, I want that dollar." Dave has never beat him. So,
Wow.
but I remember just playing that much to get him get get there. And he would show you stuff. You're like, "Hey, let's play with 2 checkers so you can see strategy, how to lock a person up with this," right? But that culture was there. And musically, to have that is a huge advantage, right? Or have that culture around you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think that that's why we're so passionate about the local musicians jam session, because it is our opportunity to provide that culture for
Yeah.
these up and coming people, right?
And I had a couple people ask about that, so we got to get another date. I told
Yeah,
them that it'll probably be October. Uh, that, but we need enough time to really get it
right,
going. But or um, maybe do one October, then do um, fall break, right? Which is
right,
when
right, right,
everybody will be coming back from
right.
school. When is that? When is fall break?
Exams
December,
usually
right?
December 2nd is exams, and then it goes into like December 13th, and then they're done.
Yeah, so somewhere in there we'll figure it out.
Chris' house was cool as a kid. Had a kick-ass drum set up in the basement.
How would you even? I don't remember you at my house, Sigwell.
So
Unless you wore your did you wear your ruffle shirt and
So wait, were cats coming to your house to
oh
rehearse
yeah,
and
we
practice?
rehearsed. Oh yeah, that's where we rehearsed.
Man, some things never change, huh?
That's where we rehearsed, man. What's wrong with rehearsing at the drummer's house, man?
I like that because you provide like burritos and stuff and popcorn and smoked chicken stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm
You
not
just
a
come to my
coffee
house,
person.
man, and get some good grub, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm not telling everybody that. You know what I'm saying?
So, all right, everybody. Well, we're gonna go ahead and call it a night tonight. We just kind of chatting. We didn't
Yeah,
have any particular subject. We were
we're
just
discussing.
out here butt naked, just talking, and had some great things. Trying to teach you some dance. Okay,
That means you had the dance moves, bro.
I guess, man.
Hey,
We
Pod,
had a
we
little,
gotta put him
we
on
had
blast.
a little dance group, man. You know, you have a little dance group, man.
Right.
Back in the day, a little dance group, man.
Oh, what? Word? Who's in the chat?
What's that?
Look at the last name right there, bro.
Oh,
Wow.
what's up, man? Joe Ritter. I was trading texts with Joe today. I was trying to get him on something, man. He too busy though, man. He got them $1 million gigs he be doing, man. So
Shout out to his daughter, just got a master's in percussion, man. She's
yeah, absolutely.
I would
Congratulations.
love for her. She needs to come to the jam session. Joe,
Let's set it up.
Get Julia out, bro.
Set it up.
I'm playing this Monday coming up at Napoleon's. Bring her out. She would love that. She's killing. She played with the what did we do? July the 4th thing she was on. Something I felt like it was something else, Joe. She was on the last
played she played Vibes.
Yeah, she probably could play Vibes too. Yeah, she plays Vibes. Yeah,
Vibes, man.
But I want to hear a drum set playing.
Well, I'm definitely all for that. So
yeah,
it could happen.
Yeah, it could happen.
Make it happen, man. Rita. Joe Rita Money.
Joe Rita.
You know
money.
that story, right?
I know it. Yes, I don't make Joe Rita money.
You get Joe Rita money? Oh man,
absolutely great cat.
God bless.
Bill Hatcher, man. I was so blessed and fortunate to be in a band with those cats. We had a great band. It was me, Bill Hatcher, Joe Rita, Sam Skelton, Kevin Lyons, Eric Alexander, Dave Scott, John Lawless on percussion. And
what band was this?
Jeff Higginbotham.
What band was this?
Church of the Apostles.
Oh, okay.
Man, sometimes our sound check sounded better than the whole gig, man. It was like killing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very hip, very hip. Well, good to see all you guys. Thanks for coming in tonight.
Yes.
We're gonna our trusty producer is at a Braves game. He's at the, man, let him have some fun, man.
Gotta have some lose, man.
Can't wait. So Brian will be back with us next week, and we will dig on another subject. We got some people we got to get on, man. We've been being lazy about that. So we got some more guests coming up. Thank you all for your support. Support the channel on YouTube. One thing I've noticed is some people are going to my YouTube channel, which is fine. Subscribe to that too. I don't really do much on mine, but trying to get you to the LMXP channel, not my channel. So don't look up Local Musicians XP. Subscribe to that. Follow that. And has that happened to you too? Yeah. So go to the Local Musicians XP channel. That's where we want you guys to but thank you for subscribing to our individual channels as well.
Right.
But we're trying to funnel everything through the LMXP. So yeah, man. NFL starts this week.
Yes, Thursday, Friday. Wow.
College is already a couple of weeks in. And Florida cats, bro. What y'all doing, bro? Oh, God.
They need a little BC powder.
Don't let Miami get hot on y'all.
Bruh.
Because that's the worst.
Don't let Florida A&T or International win them.
Somebody said the best quarterback is at FAMU right now. And they said they got a better quarterback at FAMU than they do at Florida or Florida State, man.
Oh,
I was like, God, dog.
Florida State, bro.
Well, I'm telling you, man.
Don't College beat y'all.
Oh, they already, man. BC done whooped them last night. Man.
They had a BC powder, bro.
BC ran them off the man. How does BC look like the faster team than Florida State, man? Where are we right now? How does that even happen?
It's the battle of the gold domes. Georgia Tech beat them.
And they got the real gold dome coming up in November, bro. They go to South Bend, bro.
No, they don't. Oh man, it's gonna be on and popping.
It's gonna be ugly, man.
Hey, y'all check on Boone, bro. Check on Dave Potter. Check on him, man.
Check on Dave. Yeah, Potter. Where's Potter?
We'll check on y'all, man.
Rosen.
Yeah.
Who else we got, man? Who else we got? FSU.
Oh yeah. Kevin Smith went there. Check on Kevin Smith. You know, he
He
went
don't care.
there.
He don't follow nothing. He don't follow nothing.
Yeah, Doc. I
He
remember
ain't-
when Jameis Winston was getting the crab legs.
Potter, man, is the one dude
Potter,
that
we
has
gotta get
always
Potter.
got something. I ain't heard from Potter. Let me text him right quick. Man, he gonna
Potter
have
might
some.
be on the watch, bro.
Man, we should have won. He'll have some excuse, bro. That's what he always say. Man, if we should have won. How you should have won? Y'all got outclassed in every phase of the game. How's that possible?
Wow. They wanted to play a championship game last year.
Well, Boone got off real quick. Because he would have. I know he would have had a comeback.
I'll see him tomorrow night.
I'm a matter of fact, I left him alone today, but
you did this to him.
and he must not have seen it, or
didn't see it.
Or he just is curling up, man. And,
right.
He might be under his comforter right now, man. Like
he might have PTSD. Run to the left, to the right.
Man, but yeah, man. I forgot Bill O'Brien is at Boston College, man. That's a good fit for them, dude.
Forgot about that too.
They were looking NFL-ish, dude. I was like, God dog. Ooh.
Right.
Oh well. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you all next week. Same time, same place. Peace out.